interesting that this was a place for the person. Refreshment groups here in India probably only should refreshment rooms in 1908.
Story time with Warren. Hey, it's good story time with Warren. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just finished my coffee and pie. Let me quickly go down to the Linden Dog. Is it Linden? Sorry, Hinden. My goodness. I'll be back. All right, we are here. This is your dog. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you where is my boarding pass? Focus. I am Y carriage. Y carriage. So yeah. So that gives me a bit of time to look around the carriage or the structure of the rail before boarding. Let me get my boarding pass ready so that I don't have to bring it out. Yeah, like I told you guys, if you go down, you'll find the bar and restaurant. carriage N, carriage Y. Let me see. I'm not going to sit on carriage Y, as you guys can see. That's what is written on my ticket. Y. No, I know where I'm going. So people are seated already. Train is going in that direction. Going in that direction, you should be on the left hand side when seated. Well, let me board and see what's going on. Alright, this was the carriage that I said the lights were not on. Making my way to the very last part of the carriage just to see what is going on. So this is carriage N. What do we have on the other side? So you do not lean on the rails. But anyways, this would be my location for the day. This would be my location for the day, for the filming. So this is 31 minutes, so we have 4 minutes to conclude whatever we have for the show. And yes, I believe this is enough information to get you guys going with regards to train travel. All right, so you need to be on the left because that's the direction of the train.
Well, kia ora and good morning. A very warm welcome to you all aboard the Taieri Gorge Train to Hindon. My name is Robert and I'm your commentator today. And in the loco we have Bradley and Andy. Andy is the loco driver and his assistant Andy. And the guard on board is Liam. And I'm Robert, your commentator. In the cafe car we have Kate and Marvin. Now, they're open for business, and if you want to come and purchase anything, now's probably a good time before we depart in about 15 or so minutes. So that cafe car is right in the middle of the train set, carriage V, and they've got a wide range of food and drinks available for you.
All right, so that's the end of the commentary. I was about to actually end the video, and
So when you hear this sound, please listen up for important messages. Before we get on the way, and the train's being prepared for departure shortly, I'll run through the safety briefing with you all. And please take time to listen carefully. And these guidelines are designed to keep us all safe on today's trip. First of all, this is a non-smoking service. Smoking, vaping or e-cigarettes are prohibited on board this train at all times. This includes inside the carriages, out on the open carriages and in the toilets. You're more than welcome to move throughout the train during this trip. However, please take extreme care when crossing between carriages, otherwise called gangways. And do not loiter on the gangways as they move quite a bit when the train is in motion. If you're travelling with children under the age of 14, please accompany them whilst moving throughout the train. And the external doors must not be open whilst the train is in motion. In the unlikely event of an emergency, at the end of each carriage is a pull-down lever or a push button to stop the train. If you activate one, please stand by the emergency brake and wait for a crew member to arrive. The emergency brake is for extreme emergencies only. There are toilets available in each carriage, and these may be used at any time. Please note that the water on the train is not suitable for drinking. Do not drink any of the water out of the taps in the train. If you need water, please make your way to the cafe car where they're well stocked up with water. So no water on the train is available for drinking. It's just not suitable. And you'll find the taps in the toilets and also in the little kitchen areas of a couple of the carriages. Do not drink any of that water. We're just waiting for the final preparations for the train to depart. The guard will go through and lock the doors and prepare for departure. We'll be doing that shortly. Within about 10 minutes we'll be pulling out. So we're very glad to have you with us today on this wonderful adventure together up the Taieri Gorge to Hindon. I want you to sit back and relax and enjoy the journey. And we particularly welcome all the children on board, and those having a birthday party and others. You'll see lots of wonderful things as we travel up the gorge. Look out for the new spring lambs. You'll probably see rabbits, and you'll see other wildlife. You'll see the horses as we cross the Taieri Plains, and when we go up the gorge, you'll start to see some of the wildlife. You may even see some goats and baby goats. There's a lot to see and a lot to enjoy for everybody. So today's journey to Hindon is a round trip. The first 15 minutes or so we'll be travelling on the South Island main trunk rail until we reach our turn-off at Wingatui. And the Taieri Gorge line, which we will continue on, is owned and maintained by Dunedin Railways. As we travel through the gorge today, the river views will be on the left-hand side in our direction of travel. The best views, so that's, as we're sitting here outside the station, that's on the opposite side to the station, because that will be the left-hand side as we depart. I know some of the carriages have got big enough windows to enjoy the view from either side, but if you want to make an arrangement with the other passengers to swap over seats on the opposite side once we get to Hindon, we'll leave that up to you.
All right,
I'll just mention a few things about Dunedin. For those of you who are visitors here, a little bit about the railway. Dunedin, known in its Maori word as Otapoti, is named after the red-coloured clay soils of the region. It's the provincial centre of Otago, established in 1848. The city has a population of around 134,000, and that fluctuates with the large number of students who come here each year, many from overseas and many in the law school, the Otago Medical School, and the other faculties in Otago University. They come from all over the country as well. Discovery of gold in the mid-1800s brought prosperity and a surge of migration to the region, establishing Dunedin as New Zealand's leading city. Indeed, it was the first city in New Zealand during the latter part of the 19th century, located at the head of Otago Harbour, which is not far from where we are now. Dunedin is renowned for its Scottish, Maori and Chinese heritage. The city's name, derived from the Gaelic word for Edinburgh, reflects its rich cultural background. Dunedin is also celebrated for its well-preserved Victorian and Edwardian architecture. So for those of you from Oamaru, it's similar. Oamaru has preserved much of its Victorian and Edwardian architecture as well, and therefore makes it a very attractive city for tourism. So Dunedin is well known as a student town, as I mentioned. Otago University is New Zealand's first university, established in 1869. The large tertiary student population, that's at the university and the Polytechnic, comprises approximately 25,000 students, representing almost 20% or a fifth of Dunedin's overall population. We're waiting, of course, for the train to be prepared for departure. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the Taieri Gorge Railway itself, which we shall be exploring today. The Institution of Professional Engineers New Zealand have got a plaque on the wall just there in the station, you may have seen it. It said that IPENZ, or the Institute of Professional Engineers New Zealand, recognises that this section of the former Otago Central Railway is an important part of New Zealand's engineering heritage. The route from Dunedin to Cromwell was recommended from 7 alternatives by W.N. Blair, Public Works Department, Dunedin, and construction began in 1879. The most difficult portion was through the Taieri Gorge, requiring 15 viaducts and bridges and 7 tunnels. Spectacular scenery enhances this engineering achievement. It's a memorable rail experience and a tribute to the engineers and the contractors. We'll be travelling over the Wingatui Viaduct, which is 197 metres long, 47 metres high, designed by W.N. Blair and P.S. Hay of the Public Works Department, built by R.S. Sparrow and Company of Dunedin and completed in 1887. And one thing to point out is that the railway started construction in 1879, but by 1880, New Zealand, indeed the whole world, went into a huge economic depression. And so they were tough times, and there was great concern about the cost of the infrastructure in New Zealand at that time under the Premier Vogel. But it pushed on and was eventually completed. It's an amazing achievement, and it's so wonderful that the Dunedin City Council have been able to maintain the ownership of the track all the way through to Middlemarch. We won't be going through to Middlemarch, not yet. It could be a year or two away. Requires more funding. But the good news is that from October the 5th, the section of track from Hindon right up to Pukerangi, just up on the Strath Taieri, up in the farmland, will be open. the top end of the gorge is also spectacular. It's a longer journey. So for those of you who may remember that from way back, the track is opening again after a huge amount of maintenance and safety checks over the whole line. So during the whole COVID period, when the company was mothballed, work was done to upgrade the tracks to maintain them ready for the restarting of the railway. And so we're actually going to have on the 5th of October a special train going up to Pukerangi to celebrate the reopening of the section of track. But what we'll see today is quite spectacular. The Wingatui Viaduct, the tunnels, we can see where the work camps were. There's a lot to actually see on the way. We'll be ready to depart shortly, and from this beautiful station building designed by George Troop, who designed many other stations around New Zealand. The Dunedin Railway Station was his finest creation, and is one of the most photographed buildings in the Southern Hemisphere. Sir George Alexander Troop, as he became known, he was knighted, was a New Zealand architect, engineer and statesman. He was nicknamed Gingerbread George after this building that we're stopped at the moment, after his most famous design, the Dunedin Railway Station, designed in the Flemish Renaissance style. So he was the first official architect of New Zealand Railways and designed many other stations. Some notable ones are Lower Hutt and Petone. In fact, he became the 23rd Mayor of Wellington from 1927 to 31. He was very active in politics. As we draw out of the station shortly, we're going to see on our right the Toitu Early Settlers Museum and Chinese Gardens. I mentioned a bit about that as we pull out, but I highly recommend that you visit both of them. So sit back and relax, and as I say, with some of these safety checks, be sure that you accompany the children very carefully, keep them under control, particularly moving through the carriages. They must be accompanied, and be sure that all external doors are not open, that the doors must be shut and kept shut while the train's in motion.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the announcement. That is the end of the announcement. And yes, I'll be standing by to use that particular carriage. So this will be my comfort zone for the remainder of this 3.5-hour journey. So yes, no sitting for me, unfortunately. I need to capture the whole event. And yes, the guy will definitely lock this side of the door just for safety precaution, and we'll be on our way. So yes, if you have enjoyed, kindly hit that like button. It is food for the YouTube. I'll go, and yes, if this is your first time on here, we do things like this on a weekly basis, so please pledge your allegiance to us, give us your full support, and let us continue to grow. So yeah, thank you very much. We are about to depart. The guy is coming to lock the door. Yeah, thank you.
There's the signal from the locomotive. We're now departing.
Hey mate.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
And we're just leaving this iconic building, the Dunedin Railway Station. And on our right coming up is the Toitu Early Settlers Museum, followed by Chinese Gardens. When you return to the station, be sure to have a look